Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and welcome back to the Operation Hill 100 Hearts channel where we do what? Focus on healing, humor, and hot mother freaking topics. Today, if you are tuned into this segment of my channel, of course, your nosy ass is tuned into the hot topics. And we are doing a reality show review today. We are now reviewing, you guys, I swear, you guys better have caught my episode 1 and episode 2 because we are now up to episode 3. We are reviewing College Hill season 3. I think this is called like the reality star edition or something like that, or celebrity edition or something like that. But we're reviewing College Hill. This is episode 3. The name of the episode is called Trials, Tribulations, and Tutors. If you see me keep looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes that I took as a result of watching the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a new subby, hey new subbies. If you've been here, you know I love you and I appreciate you. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. That's your free way of supporting my channel. And last but not least, drop down in the comment section with any feedback you may have. Let me say this. I now have 863 subscribers. So I am 167 subscribers away from my 1,000 mark. So if you're here just viewing this video and you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscription button. And don't forget, all of you guys, to turn on your notification bell so you can get all of my videos, the notifications for my videos when they drop. Okay, let's get started. The episode starts off with Saucy is still walking around the house wanting smoke with the whole house because remember, Carlos and Claudia hit Saucy's doll. So Saucy is like, when I find out who hit my baby, it's going to be some smoke in the city, right? So he's walking around asking all these questions. So now you see it's Claudia in her confessional because remember, she hid that she's one of the people who participated in hiding the doll. And she's like, oh man, you know, me and Saucy had smoke in the past and we've been kind of doing pretty good since I've been in the house. So I think I should just confess to him because I don't want it to go back to doing bad. We're actually on a good foot, so on and so forth. And I'm looking at the camera thinking to myself, Claudia, do you really give a fuck about y'all going back being on bad terms? Because I think if you did, you would have dealt with prevention as opposed to aftercare, and you would have never hid the doll in the first place, knowing that doing something and taking somebody's stuff could actually put you on bad terms. But I don't think you cared about that. I just think you got nervous because you saw all the smoke that Saucy was wanting. But anyway, she pulled him to the side and she was like, listen, you know, I want to talk to you. I hid your doll, but we was only playing. You know, it was like a little prank because you left it out and you went to sleep and so on and so forth. So Saucy was looking at Claudia. He was like, you hit my doll. It was you. Okay, no problem. He got to walk away. She's like, no, wait, let's talk. He's like, no. Don't need to talk right now. You hit my doll. No, it's up and this motherfucker stuck. So now Claudia is scared. She's chasing him around the house like, no, Saucy, let's get back on good terms. I don't want no problems. This was a joke. Yada, 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 right? So she that actually gave Saucy and Claudia the opportunity to have some real dialogue, right? And she was like, listen, I know I have said some things in the past that you did not like. I don't necessarily really want any smoke with you. I like what we were building thus far in this house, and I want to keep it moving, right? What Saucy did say in his confessional before him and Claudia talked is that he was like, listen, this is the same Evil Knievel bitch that they said she was on the internet. Here it is. It's playing out right now in this freaking house, right? But when Claudia said all of that, because Saucy is a character, number one. I love him to death. I always say he's like my fake cousin. And on top of that, he is a character, but he's also a person with a heart. And a lot of times he shows that. He shows that. So when Claudia said all of that, he was like, you know what, listen, I don't really want no smoke evil. We was getting off on a good foot. He said, but that's why I felt betrayed. Because I felt like we was putting all our past issues behind us and moving forward. And now you come and you do this BS. So it makes me feel like you still on BS. Right? So she was like, no. It's not about that. So, you know, Saucy was like, it's cool. No worries. He forgave her and they moved on. Right? So then Carlos walked in. Now remember, they are all coming back from school, but Carlos had got held back by Dr. Frazier because that's the class that he shows his ass in. And remember what I was telling you guys, Dr. Frazier just basically pulled him to the side and was like, yo, you know, you need to get yourself together. You need to do better and so on and so forth. So he was just coming in, returning from meeting with Dr. Frazier and so on and so forth. He's like, yo, y'all left me, blah, blah, blah. So when he came back in, I mean, it's pretty much what I shared with you guys. I felt on my last video. I feel it's the same energy here. I think that to a certain degree, Carlos feels threatened by the type of man that Dr. Frazier is. He presents very polished. He presents very educated. And it seems like that may be an issue for, what did I call Carlos last week? He's one of the fucking franchise boys. So he doesn't really feel Dr. Frazier, right? So when he came back in, he was like, yeah, you know, this nigga pulling me to the side, telling me about, you know, classroom decorum. Oh my God, my father, decorum means like I like good, tasteful behavior, right? And my father preached about decorum to us when we was younger. We got so fucking tired of that word. So I know about it oh too well. But anyway, he basically was saying, you know, that Carlos needed to, you know, be able to get his point across in class a little bit more respectfully and stop being so disruptive. And basically Carlos was saying he didn't want to hear that shit from him. And like I said, I don't believe that you necessarily didn't only want to hear it. I just think you didn't want to hear it from him. Because I think you have something personal with him. And that may be from how you came up. Who knows? Dr. Frazier really don't give a fuck. You here to learn and you need me. So anywho, you know, but he was trying to end it off right after saying he didn't give a fuck what Dr. Frazier was saying, but respectfully. And it wasn't respectfully. That's why he had to put you to the side, because he was being so disrespectful. Anyway, in my opinion, you know, that the behavior is very corny. The behavior is very corny, it's very childish. Dr. Frazier straight up said, I'm not asking you to agree with everybody here. I'm just saying to be respectful about disagreeing and also try to be a little bit more open-minded and come to some middle ground so you guys can complete the assignment, right? So, I mean, I just still was looking at Carlos because I was like, this shit is corny and you need to grow up. You're too old for this. But in all fairness, this is a reality show, so he may just be doing all this for TV. In any event, when he went in his confessional, he was like, listen, what I do understand is I'm here for a purpose, and at some point I am going to have to get on board with what the teacher is saying. So, I mean, I'm going to give it a try. And I was looking at him like, I'll believe it when I see it. But anywho, they started discussing their homework, what was due, what papers was due for what classes, so on and so forth. The next day, right, they up and they at them, they getting ready to roll out, and their first class of the day is their media conversion class, right? Now remember, this converged media class, I think is what they called it. This is the class that Angela was struggling in, where she had the breakdown and she was crying and she couldn't stand up and do what she had to do, and so on and so on and so forth, right? So as they walk into the class, Tamar and Angela kind of grab each other and they're there talking. And Tamar's like, listen, you know we're going to the Converged Media class. I know you kind of struggled the last time. Are you going to be okay? So Angela just was basically saying, like, you know, I'm still in the beginning phases of this healing journey. So a lot of times when I have to deal with the stuff that I'm actually trying to heal from, when I have to deal with it front and center, when I have to discuss it, when I have to do anything pertaining to it, it gives me anxiety. It makes me emotional because it's just so much trauma for me in that space, which is how I got on the healing journey. And I honestly, you know, in those moments, I could so relate to Angela because, oh my God, 10 years I'll be celebrating. Monday I'll be celebrating 10 years with Operation Heal 100 Hearts. But remember, I started the self-work journey 2 years prior to. So for me, it's 12 years. With helping other people is 10. And I remember, you know, the first year of my journey, you know, I cried so much. Like I cried and cried. To a point my mother was like, girl, are you okay? You know, I remember even actually going through a nervous breakdown, you know, and being so afraid, you know, of all of these emotions I was having, but I was having them because I was transitioning. You know, I was transforming. I'm entering a new space in my life. I'm actually blossoming and becoming a new person. And some people think that's easy, but trying to divorce everything you've known your whole life to become something that's unknown, you know, and also not knowing what lies ahead, but just knowing it's something you need to do. It's scary, it's hard, it's emotional. And what makes the journey even harder is that most times when you're making that transformation, you're making it on your own and by yourself. Everybody around you is a reminder and will remind you of who you used to be, where you came from, what you used to do, and so on and so forth. So now it's almost like a battle with trying to birth this new person and also trying to release that old person, but still being surrounded by everything that reminds you of who and what you used to be. So when she was explaining about how emotional she gets and how anxiety comes up for her when she has to discuss it, I felt that was very relatable to me because I'm on the healing journey as well, Angela, so I get it, right? So anywho, Tamar was like, you know, you're saying you got this, don't worry about it. So they go into the class. when they go into the class, the assignment given was, what would you guys use your platform, because you know they're celebrities, they have their platforms, to what issue would you guys use your platform to shed light on, right? So I was like, okay, and they were put in groups of 2. So it was, hold on, I'll tell you who it was. But anywho, they also said, and they were put in groups of 2, and then they had the pair with the Gen Z Xavier's current students. So together it was Saucy and China, it was Carlos and Nick, and it was Claudia and Tamar. That's what was that? I'll see. But anywho, and they had afterwards, after they all came together about what topic that they would use, they had to put together a 30-second presentation to present to the class and to raise awareness about that topic and why people should pay attention to it and why things needed to be done surrounding that topic. So I was like, okay, all right. So first up, Claudia and Tamar teamed up with the students, and they decided to use the topic of voter registration and how important it is for people to vote and how you want to make sure you're putting people in office who care about the community, so on and so forth. So they chose voter registration. Nick and Carlos chose women's rights. Ironically, it was 2 males, and they was in a group with a lot of Gen Z young women, so that was cool. And Angela and Saucy chose to tackle the issues surrounding openly gay rappers, right? Something happened in those moments, right? When it was time to do so, at first, when Angela got up, she was like, okay, I got this. When she paired up with Saucy and the students and they started talking about it, you seen Angela's confidence rev up, right? And Saucy was doing the majority of the talking, but Angela was asking all of the questions. She was getting all of the facts together. She was taking down all of the notes, so on and so forth, right? You could see that she felt good in this assignment, and that she felt like she could perform, and the anxiety and the nervousness was kind of subsided at that moment, right? One of the things that I liked was that Saucy noticed the same thing. And he said in this confessional, he was like, I noticed, Angela opening up. She wasn't as afraid as last time. He was like, and that made me feel good, because it makes me feel like I have that aura where I can restore confidence in people and make people feel good and want to open up and be them true selves without being afraid or nervous. And 2 things happened for me in that moment. One thing was that I agreed with Saucy, because I even see that with his friendship with Carisha. Like any girls, if you watch him on social media, any women that he's hanging with, you don't see them arguing, bickering. You more see them laughing, joking, and supporting each other. And again, I'm not saying he can't do that for males, but you more so see him engage with women, right? Publicly, right? So I agree with Saucy 100%. And then once again, which is why I love watching these reality shows and reviewing them, another thing was that I related 300% to that, which is why, once again, in my head, Saucy is like my cousin, because I feel the same. And I actually take pride in being able to do so, right? If I'm your friend, if I'm your coworker, if I'm your family member, if I'm your woman, if I'm in any relation to you and I engage with you 90% of the time, then that is what I'm doing for you. I am pouring into you, right? Because I feel like when you pour into people and you help restore their confidence and their love and that feeling of like, I feel good about myself, they become happier people. And when you're around happier people, you feel happy. Me personally, I don't wake up every single day the happiest person in the world, but for the most part, I get about the bed thankful, grateful, appreciative, and happy. So my goal is to go around and try to make others feel the same. So it makes me feel good when I see somebody else, in a happy space, feeling good about themselves, exuding that good positive energy all over the place. So I agree with Saucy. He definitely helped to bring it out of Angela. And I agree that, it's a beautiful thing to have folks around that can do that for you, right? So I thought that was so nice, so beautiful. All right. Sorry, y'all. I hope my phone do not lock. Oh, sorry, y'all. So then it was time for them to present, and everybody's presentation was perfect. Everybody persevered. Everybody pushed through. When they went up there, Claudia is the power rights movement activist, so she got up and talked about all of the reasons why people need to vote and for their community. And Tamar was in the back, giving her little amens and stuff. So that was nice. Afterwards, Carlos and Nick went up there, and it was smart because it gave Carlos the opportunity to speak, which Again, he needed to because everybody was looking at him like he was an asshole prior to this presentation. But when he got up there to speak, everybody got to see that you're just putting up a facade. You're not as big of a jerk as you trying to portray. You're actually a good person and a smart person with some sense. You just being a dickhead here for whatever reason, right? And then my girl Angela went up and she rocked the presentation, and they all in the background support her and clapping. So it was a beautiful thing. I actually really liked that class. And I liked the professor because the professor did something that I personally love when educators do this, right? I love when educators take a personal investment in their students, as opposed to it just being like, I put out a lesson, you completed the lesson, and now we're great. No, I like when it's like, I put out a lesson and then I care about if you understood what you learned, if you're actually learning anything, what's your learning style, and how can I support you. So afterwards, instead of the professor just being like, okay guys, great job, she pulled Angela to the side and was like, wow, I seen another side of you this time. It seems like you're really persevering and pushing through, and I like that. I want you to continue to do so, and you let me know if I can support you in any way. So it was a very nice moment. I actually really enjoyed that part. I gotta get that professor's name. So anyway, in the next scene, they are all like in this like little conference room, I guess, trying to have a little lunch and relax in between classes, and their academic advisor, Dr. Stewart, comes in. Now, Dr. Stewart, they always have this on College Hill. They always have, which is more than likely the academic advisor most times, a person who's like, I don't care if y'all are celebrities. Y'all came here to do a job, so I want to see to it that y'all do it, right? And that's usually sometimes who the cast members tangle with, because you got to remember, they're believing in their hearts that I'm a celebrity and I'm above this. And really and truly, for the most part, I'm here for a check. When they don't realize that the university that you're going to don't give a damn about your check. They care about you getting the actual experience. That's why they invited you here, right? Let me take a sip, guys. So anyway, she came in and she just was basically asking them how their college experience was going so far. And it seemed like with Carlos, he takes 5 steps forward and then 10 steps backwards, right? It seems like that may be his thing, right? Because when she came in, right, of course, I do appreciate the honesty of, listen, we didn't expect it to be like this. We thought we would be a little bit more of this, a little bit of that. So what they basically were saying, and the entire group felt this way, is like, wow, we know that colleges work, but we also thought college was fun. And we have yet to see any of the fun because we're so engulfed and ingrained in the work, right? So she basically was like, yeah, because that's what college is. College is work. Do you get free time? Yes, you have that. But for the bulk of the time, you are working your ass off because it is a lot of work and it's hard work to meet the standard, right? So, okay, the rest of them was able to get that, okay, got it. Carlos just on and on and on and on and on and on and on about why he couldn't have more fun and who he got to pay to get through this and just all of this bullshit. And it begins to be annoying. And see, Dr. Stewart is no nonsense. So for her, she wasn't allowing him to slip through the cracks some little smart-ass remarks and pull him to the side. No, she was checking him right there in the moment. I'm sorry you're having that experience, but this is real life. Giving it to him real. Like I said, he never has the same energy with women that he does with men. So he wasn't trying to be combative with Dr. Stewart, but he definitely didn't want to hear shit else Dr. Stewart had to say. So Dr. Stewart then brought up that, I also want to reiterate what I said when you guys first got here, that college is not just about hard work. College is also about other commitments that have to be fulfilled, and one of them is being present. So I'm hearing that there has been a few absences, and you guys need to tighten up. So she said it as a general statement, but I was cracking up because everybody knows, Saucy, you was the only one that was absent. So Saucy is sitting there like she must be talking to the whole motherfucking group because everybody do what they want here. So she didn't mean that for me, so I'm going to just dodge that bullet because it was not meant for me. Saucy is so crazy, right? So now here Nick now. So now Nick digging in like, okay, but what that mean when you be absent? Does it mean that you failing, or does it mean you kicked out? Can we take absences for personal reasons? He just was doing that to either A, kind of fake take up for Saucy, but also to throw a little dig at him. But remember, Carlos is already annoyed because the lady done checked his ass, so he want her to hurry up and leave. So he's telling Nick, shut up. Why you asking all these questions? Let this lady go. And again, just very disrespectful. So lady was like, you know what? I didn't come in here to aggravate y'all. I just came to check in. You guys have a good day. And when she got up and left, everybody was like, yo, bro, what's your deal? So he like, no, he's saying to Nick, like, yo, you asked me this question. I don't even had nothing to do with you. Was you absent? So what you asking me this dumb shit for? And he got up and stormed out like a grouchy ass old man. So the rest of the group was like, listen, we don't really got time for this. This is ongoing. This is very much annoying. What are we going to do about this, right? So everybody else pretty much was like, listen, he is who he is. That have nothing to do with me. I have to do what I got to do, right? So Claudia was like, oh, no, I think this needs to be addressed. And I was just looking like, oh my God. So she asked Angela about maybe partnering with her to address it or addressing it or something like that. Angela was like, not me. Not me. I'm not here for that, because his energy and my energy may not mix, and that could cause an issue for me. And I'm on a humbling journey where I'm healing, and I do not want to have any issues. So because I already could foresee his energy and I know mine when I get riled up, I'm going to just leave that alone. But Claudia, you know her, right? So she took the stance of, well, I'm not leaving it alone. I'm addressing it. So Angela said to her, well, what if, he gets nasty or he blows up? Well, then I'll be blowing up too. Claudia, my dear, you're not here for that. You're not here for that. And you know what Claudia does a lot of times too is that when she wants to be combative, she's saying she's doing it under the guise of I'm holding you accountable, which in her mind she may truly believe that. I'm not knocking that. What I don't think Claudia understands is that that's not her job, especially not in this setting. Now, granted, if she was saying that Carlos was one of her personal friends and she saw her friend slipping and she like, yo, I got to check you because you my homie, that's fine. You don't even know Carlos. So to hold him accountable really isn't your job. If he's feeling the class is there, the professors will speak to him and they'll hold him accountable. That's their job, to hold their students accountable. You're not the teacher, you're not the professor, and what I think you are there is one of the producers, which is why you're stepping in. When you kept saying things like, because one band and one sound, and if he messes up, and they was looking at you like, that's not true. But okay, girl, if this is the stance you taking on it, you do you, right? So, anywho, they go back to the house. So now when they go back to the house, Claudia did exactly what she said she was going to do, which is she confronts Carlos, right? And again, what I see with Claudia, I can identify with. I just think that she doesn't read the room. Right? I think that she doesn't read the room. I think the intentions are always good, and for her, it's like black or white. Like, I went in to try to help, so it should have gone this way. You're not reading the room, and you don't look at things from a standpoint of anybody else but your own. But anywho, she went and she approached him about it, and she did approach him very nicely. And basically, when she saw he was giving a little pushback, she was like, the long and the short of it, bro, is just stop being a dick. We always trying to get what we need here. We want to see you get what you need, so chill. Like I said, with Carlos, his energy with women is never the same as it is with men. So he was more, even when he wasn't receptive to what Claudia was saying, he still wasn't disrespectful the way he would be with Nick or Dr. Frazier. Right? So he pretty much was like, listen, what I'm doing don't affect you. And why you getting so riled up? And hey, I am who I am. And not everybody's going to like it. And but it was still done in a way that didn't have to be offensive towards her. So I could respect that. And I think she could too, which was making her kind of be more easygoing with him because he wasn't being disrespectful, right? So anyway, you're basically saying, I'm just here trying to hold you accountable, blah, 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 blah. What I see Claudia do too is in her confessionals, once again, I said this in another review, is that she's very good at making assessments of the cast. And I think that's beautiful because she does come from a producer standpoint. She's produced many shows according to her, right? So I get why she does it. My only issue is now, and it goes back to like when they talk about Shawnee O'Neal being on the shows that she's produced and directed and written and all this BS, is that either you're going to be behind the scenes making assessments and giving viewpoints and so on and so forth in the writer's room, or you're going to be on the show doing your own thing. And I think you're so busy making assessments of everybody else that you're not assessing some of your own behaviors, which is how combative you can be when you want to confront people and hold them accountable when that's really not your place or none of your fucking business. But anywho, that pretty much came out okay. Because like I said, Carlos's energy was cool, so Claudia was able to keep it cool, right? In the next scene, we see that Angela is having a visitor. I was like, okay, that's cool. So she said her boyfriend was coming to see her. Her boyfriend name is Derek. Right, so when he knocked on the door, she flung the door open and hugged him and kissed him. I was like, okay, Derek. So y'all know my nosy ass. I went to get some background information on Derek because I said, listen, Angela, I know you changing and I believe in your healing journey 3,000% girlfriend, but I also know that China White is still Black China. I'm sorry, hear me, China White. Black China is still buried deep down in you. And one part of that is you ain't going to get no broke man. So I want to see where this one here came from. So when I looked up Derek's resume, I said, okay. It said Derek Milano is a 5-time Grammy Award-winning artist, songwriter, and producer who's actually won awards for songs like Savage with Meg Thee Stallion and Beyonce. So I said, okay. Derek got an impressive little resume. So that was nice. What I like that Angela did, which was the best thing she could have did, was her and Derek went out. They went out in the city and they walked around. It kind of almost looked like they went to the school campus, but then it looked like they went to a park, kind of, sort of. I wasn't paying too much attention to the background, but them two, they sat, they talked, and she just basically shared how, this can be challenging for her because she's still at the beginning of her healing journey, so some things still trigger her, and he was just showering her with compliments like, listen, you got this, you're doing the best that you can, I'm so freaking proud of you. It was so nice to see them connect. You can honestly see that aside from them being in a romantic relationship, that they are connected and bonded as friends. And he was there, if nothing else, even though they do go together, but if nothing else, he definitely was there as a good friend, encouraging her to continue with the journey. And she was just telling him how much she appreciates having him in her life to help produce her. So I thought that was very, very nice, right? Boom, that was all we seen of Derek. In the next scene, they visited the Covenant House. Right, so what I like about the Covenant House video was that it really, really exposed folks to what they didn't already know, and that's Carlos in particular, but let's get into that, right? So they visited the Covenant House because as part of the bill that they're supposed to write for homeless people in Dr. Frazier's political science class, they wanted to do some of their own research on the homeless people out there, right? So they went to the Covenant House. The Covenant House is a youth shelter. And they were able to actually meet some of the, if not all, of the people that lived there, right? And what I can see was hearing some of their stories, because the youth that lived there, they were sharing their stories about how they got into the shelter. Somebody was pregnant, somebody was a new mom, somebody's life was just perfectly fine and just fell on hard times. It really, really, really expose how people are not just saying, oh, I don't want to pay my rent today and that's why I don't have an apartment or a house. No, it lets you know that things are happening in people's lives that have traumatized them. And as a result of that, homelessness is one of the things that they have to deal with. So as they were telling their story, you saw cast members getting emotional. Nick got emotional. Tamar got emotional. So that was nice to see, right? It was young one man there where basically his story was he was doing good and an accident just blew his whole life up. You know what I'm saying? So he's basically starting from scratch. And I think that story was relatable to Carlos, and it was more understandable for Carlos because for him in his mind, it's like, oh, people just don't pay their bills, so that's why they homeless. No. Here this guy is saying is I was doing everything right, and look what happened at no fault to me. Right? So Carlos connected with him, and in those moments when Carlos was connected with him, you could see his little crunchy ass had some human part of him, okay? So he really liked the guy. He was talking to the guy. He was getting the guy information, and then the guy brought up that it's somebody, I don't know this person, but clearly they must be famous, that he looks up to or he watches on social media. And Carlos was like, well, that's a good friend of mine. And Carlos got the guy on FaceTime, and the guy and the youth in the homeless shelter, and the guy was able to connect and pass out contact information. And Carlos even gave the young man his number because they want to try to provide the young man with some opportunities. And I was like, okay, Carlos. Okay, you are alive. And you also got to see that, people have different sets of circumstances and different trauma that causes them to be in the position that they're in. Not just because they're careless and they don't give a fuck, which is what you was trying to say. That's why people were homeless. So I'm just happy he was able to get a different perspective, so on and so forth, right? So anywho, in the next scene, they get back to the house and everybody's getting together. They're like, okay, we got work to do. We got to work on homework for this class. We got to start writing our bill for the homeless. We got to start writing this bill for the homelessness. Blah, 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 right? while they doing all of that, you see Saucy getting dolled up, Saucy putting on his denim tears, Saucy's giving on his makeup, Saucy is taking a shot. So they looking at Saucy like, Saucy, that's how you do homework? So Saucy was like, I need help with my homework, so I'm gonna meet with the tutor. So they was like, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Go meet with the tutor. That's what's up. So they all make a confession. Was like, nah, we thought Saucy was playing about this, but Saucy taking it serious. This is what's up. I like this. So anyway, Saucy leaves out the door. Carlos gets a FaceTime, and to my surprise, Carlos has a woman. Wow. And actually, an actual beautiful woman at that. So when she gets the FaceTime, Carlos introduces her to Tamar, to Claudia, to Angela, and they just basically saying like, listen, we know this your boo, but we need some tips on how to deal with him because he's teed up. And she basically was saying, girl, him being teed up is all a facade and the act. He just like to be difficult every now and again, but really and truly, he got some goddamn sense. He's actually really intelligent. He just enjoys being an asshole. So they was like, oh, okay, great. Now we know how to deal with him. So that was cool, right? So after that, she was like, listen, y'all got my permission to check his ass when need be because we not having that BS on no national TV. They was like, okay, thank you, girl. Anywho, fast forward. After they get off the line with the girl, everybody going to get in the bed. They did they work, so on and so forth. Tamar sitting there and they talking. I think she's talking to Carlos. And she goes on her IG, child. Saucy is at the club. He got the Don Julio. He got the hookah. He twerking. He jerking. He working. He getting down. Oh, my God. Saucy was turned the fuck up. They was like, what the fuck? We thought he was going to meet the tutor. His confessional, Saucy was like, yeah, I did go meet the big black one at the strip club. I went to party. So Saucy is a nut, and Saucy is not taking this experience as serious as he should be. And what it looks like on the next episode is they going to be jumping on Saucy ass like, bro, what are you doing? And even the folks at the school, the professors, the academic advisor, I think they're all going to be like, listen, we don't think he's going to benefit from this experience, so he may not be able to continue to participate. So now I think we're going to see the group trying to pull together and get his head in the game, and he's looking like, look, leave me the fuck alone. I want to twerk and work and be a material grow. So we're going to see. We're going to see, but I'm loving College Hill. I'm loving College Hill. They have a lot of relatable moments for me. And I just like the show, period. I think they picked a very diverse and fun cast, and I like to hear all of their stories. So I'm enjoying the show. I hope you guys are. Continue to watch. Continue to watch. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I forgot anything from the episode that you think is pertinent information that we need to discuss. Like I said, I do not debate and I do not delete as long as the discussion is respectful. In any event, happy Saturday. Enjoy your day, and thank you guys for tuning in. Mwah.